Before we crack open tonight's cursed can of content, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, and an extra Sinister shout out to the loyal members of the Sinister Elite. You legends help keep the darkness alive. If you're enjoying the stories and want to take it a step further, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and consider joining the Sinister Elite by clicking that join button below. Members get access to creepy custom emojis and exclusive Sinister Elite badges that level up the longer you survive with us. It's like loyalty, but spookier. All right, lights off, headphones in, and let's summon something we'll all regret. On the night shift outside Amarillo, the wind never quits. It rattles the chain link, tugs dust off the lease road, and hums in the derrick steel like a bad hymn. The pumpjacks bow and bow again under floodlights that bleach the dirt the color of bone. We call that circle of safety the halo, and we do not step out of it unless we have to. The new guy, Reyes, keeps drifting to the edge of the light as if curiosity has a hook in his lip. "Big sky," he says, staring into the black fields. I tap his hard hat with my glove. "Rule 1, I remind him. Stay close to the light at night. He gives me a look like I'm kidding, then notices how everyone else clings to the glare. Me, Darlene at the manifold, old Haywood babysitting the generator, even the driller in the doghouse sipping coffee by a lamp bright enough to interrogate angels. Out beyond the halos, the prairie is a flat plate of ink with teeth. "Is this like rattlers?" Reyes asks. "Or coyotes?" "Coyotes don't make footprints that don't show in the morning," Darlene says, not looking up. "It's changeover. We swap shovels for gauges, mud math for torquey wrenches. The work is loud, precise, and ugly. It keeps our hands too busy to listen to the dark. Every so often, the light towers flicker. We all freeze when they do. If the halogens die, you don't run. You feel for the building and you keep a hand on steel. That's the only way not to step into something you can't step back from." Haywood checks the fuel levels. "We're topped. Don't test it." He says that like a prayer. Reyes laughs too long. It's the nervous kind. "Y'all serious with the rules?" "Serious as missing people," I say. He waits for me to grin. I don't. The wind pushes dust over my boots, and I watch the edge of the light. That's where the figures appear, at the seam where brightness frays. We call them cutouts. Sometimes, a cutout looks like a man without a face. Sometimes it's wrong taller, shoulders too wide and the head tilted like a question mark. When you see one, you go inside and hit the alarm. That's rule 2. "Okay," Reyes says finally, softer. "So if I see shapes, I go inside." "And you sound the alarm," Darlene says. "So we're aware." He nods. He still doesn't get it. Nobody does until the dark speaks back. We make our rounds. Flare stack hissing, separators ticking, pumps thudding like a giant heart. Tools chatter, bolts complain. The night keeps breathing. It smells like crude and wet iron. I stand under the tower and scan the lease road. A tumbleweed skips by the light line, hits it and scatters, like it learned the rule the hard way. The first time I learned it, I was new too. Different rig, same sky. A floorman named Ellis took 3 steps into the dark to pee where the wind would carry the smell off. We heard the small gasp, the kind someone makes when stepping off a porch they thought had another stair. We turned and he was a silhouette with edges smudged, then the light blinked and he was gone. No scream, no thud, just the chain link fence sighing. In the morning, no tracks. HR called it employee relocation, like the wind filled out paperwork. Haywood claps a hand on my shoulder now, like he can feel me remembering. "Keep the towers happy," he says. Rule 3 isn't a suggestion. I check the breaker box and wipe fugitive dust off the glass. All green. Our halos are fat and bright. The darkness outside shifts its weight, the way a crowd does when the band's late. Reyes works beside me at the choke manifold, clumsy but trying. He fumbles a socket and it bounces to the edge of the light like it wants to leave. He steps after it. "Leave it," I say. "It's my only 13. he says, one foot bleaching white, the other foot gray, like a man caught mid-photo between flash and night. Leave it, I say again, hand on the back of his vest. He looks up, annoyed. Then he sees what I'm watching. Not a shape, exactly. More a dent in the dark where the socket should have landed. The dent leans closer. It is exactly the size of a man who would stand too still to be alive. Reyes inhales through his teeth. We step back together. Inside the doghouse, the radio crackles. Wind's shifting, the driller says. If it hits the tower, we might get a blink. Be ready. He doesn't need to say what ready means. It means know the path from wherever you're standing. To a door you can slam and bolt with your eyes closed. It means the alarm button within arm's reach of every station. It means don't test the dark's patience. We keep moving, fast but not frantic. The sky thunders far off. Heat lightning laces the horizon, brightening the black just enough to show how much of it there is. Question, Reyes says. What if the lights go out while I'm out there? Like, between halos? You don't freeze, I say. You crawl if you have to. You live with skinned knees. You don't live if you stand waiting for help. That seems to settle into him. He nods and wipes his palms on his coveralls. I can tell he wants a cigarette. I can tell he won't risk the dark to have one. Darlene finishes a check and taps the alarm housing with a wrench twice. Just making sure, she says. The metal rings like a church bell. The cutout at the edge dissolves, as if the sound offended it. Midnight slides past. The patch hums. The pumpjacks keep bowing, more devout than us. The generator purrs. For a minute, the night feels tamed. Then the far tower coughs. It's a tiny thing, a hiccup in the halogen, quick as a blink, but every body stiffens. Our halos tighten. The seam of safety creeps closer to our boots. Out beyond, the prairie unfolds a little wider, like a tongue. I look at Haywood. He's already moving toward the light plant, calm the way men get when fear is a familiar tool. Hold your stations, he says. Nobody plays hero. If it goes dead, you know what to do. The tower coughs again. Then, silence. The light at the far end of the pad dies, just snaps off, as if a giant pinched the filament. A band of black surges across the lease road, swallowing the fence and the empty barrels in the socket Reyes dropped. It reaches the corner of our halo and stops there, nosing the brightness like a wolf at a porch step. From inside that new dark, something stands up. Inside, I say, already moving. My finger finds the alarm. The horn howls across the pad, rolling out to the road and the mesquite and the silhouettes that wait just beyond what we can see. And the cutouts come to the edge all at once. The alarm screams across the lease, a long metallic howl that rattles the doghouse windows. It's not for fire, not for blowouts. It's for them. Every one of us knows it. The far tower's dead, the whole north end of the pad swallowed in black. That's the problem with floodlights. When one goes, it takes a piece of the world with it. Now we've got a hole in our halo, a mouth in the fence line that something can step through. Haywood's already halfway to the generator shed, flashlight bobbing. He shouldn't have one. The beam only carves out tunnels of safety and leaves thicker dark between, but he knows the system better than anyone. If anybody can bring the light back before the cutouts cross the line, it's him. Stay put, he calls. The wind rips half the words away, but we get the gist. Nobody moves. Reyes fidgets beside me, eyes darting to the gap. The dent in the dark we saw earlier has friends now. 3-4 shapes lean at the edge of the light, tall and thin, their outlines rippling like heat mirages. They don't walk. They drift. Sounded the alarm, I tell him. That's all we can do. But Haywood knows the risk. He doesn't answer. His mouth works like he's chewing air. The shapes lean closer, bending in ways a human spine doesn't bend. Darlene backs into the doghouse doorframe, one hand on the steel. Rule 2, she says firmly. We saw them. We sounded the alarm. Now don't be stupid. That word hangs heavy. Out here, stupid means dead. The cutouts stretch their limbs in slow, waving arcs. At first it looks like they're testing the border of the light. Then I realize they're reaching toward Haywood. He's maybe 30 yards from the shed now, flashlight beam jittering across pipe racks in the cracked earth. "Come on, old man," I whisper. He disappears into the shed. A beat passes. 2, 3. The pad feels like a held breath. Then the figures surge. Not running, not sprinting, just extending forward, a blur of longer legs, arms dragging behind them like smoke. They stop right at the edge of our light. Reyes yelps. The halogen tower coughs again, flickering back to life. It sputters once, twice, and then the entire north pad floods with sterile white. The figures dissolve like shadows under a welder's arc. The alarm keeps howling until Darlene slams her palm against the shutoff. Silence slams down after, the kind that makes your ears buzz. We're still breathing hard when Haywood lumbers back, wiping grease on his coveralls. "Breaker tripped," he says flatly. "Fixed." Reyes stares at him. "They almost had you." Haywood shrugs, like that's the price of doing business. "Rule 3, he mutters. "Keep all the lights on." I notice then that his flashlight lens is cracked, as if something pressed too close, too fast. The rest of the shift, we don't speak much. We just keep checking gauges, tightening bolts, monitoring pressure. The shadows don't come back that night, but every one of us feels them watching from just beyond the fence line. Around 4 a.m., Reyes finally asks the question all rookies ask. What happens if somebody doesn't make it back to the light? Nobody answers right away. The hum of the pumpjacks fills the gap, steady as a heartbeat. Finally, Darlene says, "You don't find a body." And Haywood adds, "You don't find tracks either." Reyes swallows. "So they just disappear?" I shake my head. "No. Sometimes you hear them after. Whispers on the wind. Boots crunching gravel where nobody walks. The patch remembers who it takes. He goes pale, and I don't blame him. You can get used to oil, noise, even the hours. But you never get used to the dark out here. At shift's end, we shut down, double-check every tower, every bulb. The sun breaks over the prairie in a red smear, scattering the cutouts back into whatever hole they crawl from. The rules keep us alive another night, but only just. And I can't shake the feeling. Sooner or later, the dark's patience runs out. Daylight feels like a truce. We lock up the doghouse, kill the alarm, and climb into dusty pickups with mud on the fenders. Nobody talks on the drive back into Amarillo. Not about the figures, not about the blackout. We leave the fear on the lease like we're afraid it'll hitch a ride. But the next night, it's waiting. By the time we roll up, the towers are already humming, glowing pale across the dirt pad. The light circles don't touch, but they overlap just enough to keep the black pushed back. We check the bulbs like surgeons. No cracks, no flicker, no burned glass. Rule 3, always. "Generator's full," Haywood mutters. "Shouldn't hiccup tonight." He says it like a lie he's willing to carry. We split assignments. Darlene checks the separator pressure. Reyes and I run pipe. Haywood babysits the fuel lines. The night falls thick as tar. And then, halfway through my rounds, I hear it. Boots crunching gravel. The sound comes from the lease road, maybe 20 yards past the tower light. My gut twists. Out here you can hear a real person coming. Footfalls, jangling keys, the way breath hitches on the wind. This isn't that. It's rhythm without weight. A shuffle that doesn't sink in the dirt. "Reyes," I whisper. "You hear that?" He freezes, socket wrench clutched in his glove. His eyes cut toward the dark. The crunching goes silent. We back up together until we're shoulder to shoulder under the floodlight. My heart feels like a hammer in my throat. The dark shifts. A figure leans into the light line, so faint I think my eyes are lying. Its edges twitch like static. Shoulders hunched. No face. "Inside," I snap. We sprint for the doghouse, slam the steel door, and hit the alarm. The horn screams. Darlene curses from the manifold. Haywood barrels in a second later, out of breath but steady. What did you see? Cutout, I say. Lease Road. Close Reyes can't even speak. He's just nodding too fast, sweat dripping off his jaw. We listen for a long time, the alarm echoing over the pad. When it finally shuts off, the silence feels loaded. The hum of the towers presses against it, thin and fragile. You said they whisper, Reyes manages. His voice is hoarse. What do they say? Darlene looks at him like he's asked about the taste of poison. Nothing you want to hear. But he's right. We do hear them sometimes. Not words exactly. More like the suggestion of words, syllables breaking in the wind. It's always your name, or something that feels like your name. The first time I heard mine, I thought it was the driller calling. When I turned, there was nothing but the fence and the dark pressed against it. We stay in the doghouse until the pressure on our chests eases. Then Haywood growls, "Back to work." Rules are rules, and the patch doesn't pay us to cower. We step out again, careful to stay in the glow. The cutouts are gone, or maybe just waiting. The towers keep humming, but I can't shake the thought. If one bulb goes, if one breaker trips, the dark will come running. Around 3 a.m., Reyes asks the second rookie question. Why not put towers closer together? Cover the whole pad? Haywood chuckles dryly. We've tried. Doesn't work. Dark doesn't like being fenced, just makes it hungrier. That kills the conversation. Later, while checking pressure, I hear the crunch again. Closer this time. My name rides the wind, drawn out like a rope. I don't turn. I don't look. Rule 1's in my head like scripture. Stay close to the light. And that's the only reason I make it to morning. By the fourth night, the pad feels thinner, like the ground itself is wearing down under all the fear we've dumped into it. The towers buzz harder. The pumpjacks bow deeper. Even the chain link fence rattles without wind. We're all spooked, but Reyes looks the worst. He's jumpy, pacing the edge of the light like a caged dog. His coveralls are streaked with dust from nervous kneeling, his eyes raw from staring too long into the dark. They're not real, he blurts at one point. Just tricks. Light and oil fumes, and long shifts. That's it. No, Darlene says flat. She doesn't even glance up from her pressure gauge. They're real. Reyes laughs, but it's hollow. Then why don't we fight them? Shoot them, run them off. I've got a .357 in my truck. You won't hit what you can't hold, Haywood says. And you'll just piss them off. That shuts him up, but only for a while. I keep running my rounds, socket wrench clanging on bolts, gauges humming, pipe sweating in the heat. The night presses closer. Somewhere beyond the towers, coyotes howl, but their voices don't carry right. They echo wrong, stretch thin like tape running too slow. When I circle back, Reyes is gone. My stomach drops. Where's the rookie? I bark. Darlene jerks her chin toward the far tower. Said he was checking a line. I run that way, boots pounding in the dirt. He's just past the halo edge, crouched low with his dropped wrench. Half his body is lit, the rest swallowed. Reyes! I snap, back. Now he freezes. It's fine. I can see it. Just 2 steps. My chest goes tight. Rule 1 is all I can think. Stay close to the light. If he takes another step, half of him will be gone before the rest knows it's missing. Then the dark shifts. Not figures this time, shadows blooming upward like smoke from the ground. They reach for him, slow and patient as if they already know he's theirs. Move! I roar. He flinches, drops the wrench, and scrambles backward into the glow. The shapes flatten instantly, retreating into the seam. His breathing's ragged, chest heaving, face gray under the halogen wash. You stupid son of a... Darlene's voice shakes, but she doesn't finish. Reyes looks at me, eyes wide, lips trembling. I heard my name. Thought it was you. It wasn't me. Haywood stomps over, jaw tight. He doesn't yell. He doesn't need to. You break a rule. You don't just risk yourself. You risk all of us. You get snatched. The dark gets hungrier. Next time it pushes harder. You understand that? Reyes nods fast. Too fast. His hands still twitch like he's gripping that wrench. We escort him back to the doghouse, slam the door, and stand there breathing diesel air until the alarm horn stops echoing in our ears. The rest of the shift drags. Every shadow feels thicker. Every footstep crunches like it belongs to something else. We don't let Reyes leave the circle alone again. When morning finally comes, I notice something new in the dirt beyond the towers. Not footprints exactly, but depressions. 4 of them. Tall. Deep. Like something heavier than a man pressed close to the light and waited. I don't tell Reyes. Some lessons stick better when they scar. By the 5th night, the pad feels hostile. The towers still glow, the pumps still bow, the generator still hums, but none of it feels like ours anymore. It's like we're squatting in someone else's territory, and the landlord's about to show up. The driller hands out assignments without looking at anyone. Even his voice sounds tight. Keep it lit. Keep it moving. That's all he says. We scatter to our stations. I'm at the choke manifold, Darlene on the gauges, Haywood babying the gen set. Reyes hovers near me, shaking his leg like a kid waiting for a test result. He's been quiet since almost stepping out last night. Too quiet. Around midnight, the wind dies. Out here, that's worse than a storm. The silence is so heavy it presses on your skin. That's when the towers start humming. Not the electrical buzz we're used to, but a low vibration that rattles your teeth. I glance up. The bulbs don't flicker, but the light feels thinner, like the darkness is pressing back, harder than usual. "Generator?" I call into the radio. Haywood's voice crackles back. "Running steady." "Not the gen, then what?" That's when I see them. Cutouts. Not at the fence line, not 30 yards away, but right at the edge of the doghouse light. 4 of them, tall and bent, like they've been unfolding out of the ground. They don't move, don't sway. They just lean, staring without faces. I slam my hand on the alarm. The horn wails, rattling bolts in their sockets. Darlene curses loud enough to cut through it. Reyes stumbles backward into the doghouse doorframe, eyes wide as dinner plates. The cutouts don't retreat this time. They don't dissolve like smoke. They stand firm, pressing the seam, their limbs twitching like they're testing invisible glass. "Why aren't they leaving?" Reyes whispers. "Because they're patient," Darlene says, "and we're running out of luck." Haywood barrels into the doghouse, flashlight bouncing. He slaps the kill switch for the alarm, then glares at the rest of us. "Keep working. Don't freeze up," I stare at him. "With those things right there, they can't cross the light. Long as the towers hold, we're fine. Rule 3, damn it." But his knuckles are white on the flashlight. The cutouts twitch again. Closer now. I swear one's hand slips a fraction into the glow, fingers unraveling like strands of smoke before it yanks back. The air tastes metallic. Reyes whispers, "They're learning." I want to tell him he's wrong, but I can't. We work the rest of the night in bursts, never straying more than a few feet from the doghouse door. The gauges hum, the pipes tick, the lights buzz. The cutouts never leave. They just wait, patient as hunger. At 3 a.m., one of the towers coughs. Just once. The entire crew freezes, hearts pounding. The figures lean forward all at once like sprinters on the block. The tower steadies. The light flares back bright. The cutouts flatten, then slide away into the black, dissolving into nothing. The silence after is worse than the horn. By sunrise, we're all hollow-eyed and jumpy. Reyes looks ready to quit. Darlene doesn't say a word, packing her tools. Haywood mutters to himself about fuel levels, breakers, ballast. I linger, scanning the dirt beyond the towers. The depressions are deeper now, and there are more of them. The 6th night starts bad. Clouds roll in from the west, blotting out the stars. No moonlight, no horizon, just black stacked on black. The towers hum louder, straining against the dark. We make extra rounds, checking every bulb, every breaker. Haywood fuels the generator twice just to be sure. He mutters like a preacher fixing to lose his flock. Keep it lit. Keep it lit. Reyes won't leave the doghouse. He leans against the doorway, staring at the edge of the halo. His lips move like he's praying, but the words don't belong to any church I know. At midnight, the first tower flickers. Just once, a hiccup of light. Every head jerks up. Fuel's good, Haywood barks. Breaker's good. It's not me. The tower steadies. We exhale. Then the second tower coughs. The light sputters, flares, then dies. The north pad is gone in an instant, swallowed whole. Alarm! I shout, already slamming the button. The horn screams. Darlene bolts for the doghouse. Reyes drops to his knees, clutching his head. Shapes pour into the gap. Not 3 or 4 this time. Dozens. Cutouts swaying, leaning, folding in from the black like a tide. Their limbs twitch too fast to be human. Haywood! I yell. He's already running, flashlight jerking, boots hammering the dirt. Straight for the generator shed. The figures track him. I swear their heads, if you can call them that, all tilt in unison, like vultures noticing a fresh carcass. Inside! Darlene screams. She drags Reyes up by his collar. I'm right behind, heart trying to punch through my ribs. But I can't just leave Haywood. He reaches the shed, throws the door open, vanishes inside. The cutouts surge. Not walking, sliding, flowing, filling the space between towers with shifting limbs. Then the shed light snaps off. Haywood! No answer. The horn blares, drowning out everything. Reyes is crying now, muttering about hearing his name in the dark. Darlene slams the steel door, bolts it, leans back, breathing fire. We wait. We don't speak. The horn screams until my ears ring, until the metal walls feel alive with vibration. Then, slowly, the tower relights. Bright as day, steady as stone. The pad floods with white again. The cutouts dissolve at the seam, flattening into nothing. Silence drops. The shed door creaks open. Haywood stumbles out, grease on his face, breathing like a bellows. His flashlight's gone. His gloves are missing. His left sleeve is shredded like claws raked it, but he's alive. He staggers back toward us, every step heavy. When he hits the doghouse light, his eyes look wrong, glassy like he left part of himself behind. Nothing broke, he rasps. Just tripped. Nobody believes him. We don't ask questions. We just hold our stations until sunrise. But the way Haywood stares into the black after that, like it's staring back with his eyes, makes me think the rules aren't enough anymore. The 7th night feels like walking into a trap we built ourselves. The pad is humming, lights blazing, towers fed fat with diesel. Everything is working. Everything should feel safe. But it doesn't. Reyes won't even step out of the doghouse at first. He sits with his back to the wall, rocking, whispering that he hears voices calling him. I almost drag him out by the collar, but Darlene stops me. Let him be. Better inside than out, so it's just me and her making rounds while Haywood hovers near the generator like a guard dog. He hasn't been right since the shed. His eyes glaze too long when he looks at the dark, like he's listening to someone only he can hear. Around 1 a.m., the towers start to dim. Not flicker. Dim. The glow shrinks, like the bulbs are straining underwater. I slam the radio. Haywood, what's happening? Load's fine. He growls back. No breaker, no surge. It's not me. Then what the hell is it? The halos contract, shadows spilling closer. The fence line disappears. The pumpjacks bend their heads in silhouette, black giants bowing in the dark. And then we see them, cutouts everywhere, at the road, the fence, the flare stack, dozens, maybe hundreds, all pressed right up to the light line, leaning in like they're waiting for an invitation. Reyes screams from inside the doghouse. We whirl around. He's clawing at the door, trying to hold it shut. Something's pulling from the other side. Alarm! I yell. Darlene slams her hand on the button. The horn blares, rattling every bolt on the pad. But the figures don't move. They hold. The sound doesn't chase them back like it used to. They just stand there, faceless, twitching, testing the seam. The horn screams until my teeth ache, and still they don't budge. "They're not scared anymore," Darlene whispers. The halos shrink another foot. The dark presses in like a living thing, swallowing barrels, cable reels, the shed. I swear I hear voices in it now. Low, broken syllables, almost words. Not my name, not yet, but something close enough to chill my blood. Haywood stumbles out of the gen shed, wiping sweat off his face. "Hold the light," he shouts, but it's shaking in his voice. "Hold it steady." The cutouts twitch again, leaning so close their smoke fingers curl over the dirt inside the glow. They don't touch, not yet. But they're close. Closer than they've ever been. We ride out the rest of the shift like that. The horn blaring, the light straining, the dark pressing right to the edge of our boots. Nobody works, nobody moves. We just hold ground and wait for dawn like soldiers waiting out a siege. And when the sun finally comes, the cutouts dissolve. Not retreat, dissolve. Like they'd never been there. But the depressions in the dirt remain. Dozens of them. Deep as graves. Reyes says he's done. He's quitting, heading back to town, never setting foot on the patch again. Haywood just stares at the horizon, eyes glassy, muttering, "Lights can't hold forever." And me? I know he's right, because tomorrow night will be the 8th, and I can feel the dark getting ready to take everything. The 8th night doesn't feel like the others. The air's too still, too heavy, like the sky itself is holding its breath. Out on the pad, every tower burns white-hot, halos fat and steady. Everything looks perfect. And that's the problem. Reyes never shows. He quit at sunrise and drove east without looking back. Darlene says good riddance, but I can see her chewing her cheek bloody. Out here, walking away isn't just quitting a job. It's spitting in the dark's eye. It's just me, Darlene, and Haywood. The driller didn't even show. Maybe he knew. Maybe he heard what was coming. We work in silence. The pumps bow, the generator hums, the fence rattles though no wind blows. Then, just past midnight, the towers cough. Not one, not two, all of them. The light falters in waves, halos shrinking, flaring, shrinking again. The darkness pushes forward in sync, each surge closer, like the tide coming for the shore. "Rule 3, Haywood screams, bolting for the generator. His voice cracks like a breaking pipe. "Keep 'em lit." I slam the alarm. The horn bellows across the pad. Darlene braces against the doghouse door, eyes wide, lips moving soundless prayers. The cutouts come. Not at the edge, not waiting. They flood forward, dozens, maybe hundreds, bodies twitching, limbs too long, faceless heads tilting like they're curious. The light slows them, but it doesn't stop them. One tower pops, the bulb shattering with a sound like a rifle shot. The north pad is gone in an instant, swallowed whole. "Inside!" I yell. Darlene's already in the doorway waving me over, but Haywood's still at the generator. He slams breakers, yanks fuel lines, curses like a mad priest. "I can hold it," he roars. "I can—" The shed goes black. The cutouts rush him in a wave. For one instant, I see his flashlight beam flare, cutting across the dirt. Then it vanishes, swallowed in a blur of limbs. No scream, just silence. Darlene yanks me inside the doghouse, slams the door, bolts it. We huddle under the horn's shriek as the windows darken with shapes pressing against the glass. Fingers drag across steel like nails on a coffin lid. "Lights can't hold forever," Haywood had said. And he was right. The last tower flickers. The halo around the doghouse shrinks, pulling closer until only the doorway glows. The dark whispers now, clear as my own thoughts. My name, over and over, sweet and patient. Darlene grips my arm so hard her nails cut through the coveralls. "Don't listen," she gasps. "Stay close to the light." The tower coughs, pops, dies. Pitch black. The horn cuts out mid-scream. The only sound left is the crunch of footsteps circling the doghouse. Dozens of them, maybe more. We don't speak. We don't breathe. We just sit in the dark, waiting, because the rules are gone. And when the light goes out on the Amarillo patch, nothing keeps the night from taking what it's owed.